Well, there we are. All praise. Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. Happy Sabbath. I hope everyone is enjoying their Sabbath and having a safe, happy Sabbath. All praises. This morning, we're going to be looking at false prophets. It's important for us to know who the false prophets are. We're in a time where everyone has picked up this book. And they're going to teach you. They're going to teach you, and they want you to pay them. Making it real plain today. They want you to pay them for what they're going to teach you. And it's not about what the Most High requires. It is most important that you know where you're getting your resources from. One example I could use is those who pan for gold, who used to pan for gold. And you still have some around today still pan for gold. But way back when, in the early 1900s, 19th century, and also the 1900s as well, there were those who panned for gold, and then you had those who found what looked like gold. They called it fool's gold because it fooled many people. Fool's gold, it shined, it looked nice, but when the test was put to it, it was not gold. And the problem is today we have a lot of fool's gold in the form of teachers, those who are who call themselves pastors, teachers, prophets, the whole nine yards, evangelists, you name it. They'll tell you the Most High called me and I'm going to do this, but it's contrary to what His word says. If His word says something and they're saying He told me to do something else, that lets you know something ain't right with this. Let's open up in the book of Ezekiel. We're looking at false prophets today. We're going to open up in the book of Ezekiel and chapter. Let's do this now. Hang on. I just had a thought as I am doing this. I said I want to put this up here. There it is. Is it coming up? There it is. All right. Now, let's open up to Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 25. And we're reading down. And it reads, "There is a conspiracy in her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof." Now he's letting us know what they have done. Who's the they? The false prophets. The false prophets are like lions ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They get people behind them. And then they say, well, God's going to bless you and you need to, give us X, Y, and Z. Pay your tithes. Most people don't know tithes didn't have anything to do with money, but it had everything to do with vegetables, food. People don't know that because you're following these people and yet you never check them. You don't even know how to check them. You just believe what they tell you. That's why he says, Ezekiel is saying, they have devoured souls. They have taken treasure. They've taken your money. Give me. This is good stuff. You need to be paying for this. This is good. They have taken the treasure and precious things, your young daughters, your young sons. They have taken advantage of. And oh my goodness, they have really run rampant with our people. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. They've killed off a lot of men. During slavery, they had brothers. You see that in the movie that Nate Parker put together, Nat Turner. The whole establishment of the church is based upon the slave model, and how we're continuing the slave model today, and no thought of changing the way things were. In verse 26 it says, her priests have violated my law. That's number one. Her priests have violated my law. Who, when it refers to her, is talking about the nation of Israel. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned mine holy things. There are holy things that have been profaned, telling you you don't have to wear particular clothing. You can dress any way you want to. You don't have to do that. Men could wear dresses if they want, and women can wear pants if they want. It's a free country. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and the profane. Neither have they showed a difference between the unclean and the clean. See, on a lot of these places, they tell you know what? Pork is good for you now. I mean, it's been sanctified. Even in some certain Jewish sects, they have what is called kosher pork. Makes me laugh cynically, because the audacity for you to even fix your mouth to say such a thing. There is unclean, there is clean. The unclean has not been made clean. That's the way the Most High set it up. It's like saying, the sun no longer rises in the east and sets in the west. It rises in the south and sets in the north. People look at you like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to listen to you. There are certain orders that has been placed that's not changing. If you take an elevator up to Willis Tower, those are in Chicago, to the Empire State Building, those are in New York. I don't know too many other high places in Los Angeles. Any high-rise building with more than 30 floors, and you're able to access the roof. Step off the ledge of that building. I guarantee you one thing: gravity will always do its job. See, there are orders that are put in place that will not change, because the Most High is not going to allow it to change. Gravity is going to do its job. It's going to bring you back to earth quick, fast, and in a hurry. And it's going to bring you back so fast that the force is going to cause you to splatter when you hit the ground. So he's telling us that, and they have showed different. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths. I am profane among them. See, now you hid your eyes. No, we're not. We don't keep the Sabbath, brother. That was then. This is now. We don't do those things. It is very important. If they're telling you you don't need to keep the Sabbath, run. This is what's happening with the false prophets. The false prophets are very, very cunning. They're like a snake that'll lull you to sleep and wrap you up and keep you nice and warm. It is literally like putting a bullfrog in water and slowly heat it up. As you slowly heat the water up, the bullfrog will not hop out of that water. He will literally boil to death. That's how the false prophets seem to suck you in. He gets you with his doctrine. You start, yeah, that sounds good. And before you know it, you are boiled to death. So he's letting us know they profaned, even the Most High is profaned among them, he says. In verse 27, her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravishing the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. That's what we were just talking about. You're telling people you need to tithe, you need to tithe, you need to tithe. Tithing has nothing to do with money, and yet people are giving you 10% of their hard income so you can go out and buy your Bentley, buy your big house on the hill, and then turn around and tell them, why aren't you doing what you should be doing? So they can send you more money. It is a travesty. Verse 28, and her prophets have dubbed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus said Yahweh Elohim, when the Yahweh hath not spoken. See, I'm real careful. I'm not going to tell you what he said and he ain't say it. A lot of times when you start speaking the truth and you start teaching the truth according to the scripture, people don't want to be around you. They're not going to want to be around you. They call Elijah a troublemaker. Oh, you troubler of Israel. He's back, bringing more trouble. Why? Because he brought the truth. Those that bear the truth will be hated vehemently. And that's what we're looking at today. So that's the opening scripture, Ezekiel 22, chapter 22, 25 through 28. Now we're going to jump over to Deuteronomy 18, 20 and 22. Deuteronomy 18, 20 through 22. The problem is most people have become too, what is the word? Too relaxed. They're too relaxed. They're too complacent. They have allowed what's going on to be the status quo. No big deal. It's all right. You can do your thing. I can do my thing. Well, I'm going to tell you, among the children of Israel, the Most High is going to make the great separation. And when he said there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth, brothers and sisters, there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth because you just don't want to do what he told you. And, the old saying, not all kinfolk is skinfolk. Well, the scripture makes it clear, not all Israel is Israel. You're going to have a lot of people saying, I'm Israel, but they are serving the devil in every shape, form, and fashion. So let's look at Deuteronomy 18, 20 through 22. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other Elohims or deities, even that prophet shall die. So this is what's happening. You speak in another name, well, we call him this, we call him that, and you doing everything your massa, the oppressor, the one who have brought you into bondage told you to do. You're not going to follow this scripture. You're going to do whatever it is he told you to do, and you're going to like it. Why? Because he rewards you. He gives you money to tell lies to your people, to destroy your people. So let's read that again. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other deities, even that prophet shall die. These are the words of the Most High. He ain't playing. The Most High is not playing. People saying, I'm good. I'm driving my vehicle and I'm down the street. I'm looking good. You see all my rings and necklaces and all my jewelry. You got all your bling on. But that too will burn. Because it's like putting pearls on a pig. It just ain't right. Just shouldn't be done. Let's read on. Verse 22. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Yahweh hath not spoken? How we gonna know? Verse 22. When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Yahweh hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. Now here's the thing. Today we're dealing in prophets that deal in the dark arts. The dark arts. See, let me make this real clear. We talk about our ancestors. We should get in touch with our ancestors and hear what the ancestors told us. Well, what ancestors speak to us today when we talk about the children of Israel? We should be listening to the ancestors of Ezra, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Matthew, Luke, John. These are the ancestors. We should tap into the writings, what they have said, so that we can become more knowledgeable. Let me give you a little bit of evidence onto what it is I am saying, so you won't be completely at a loss. Um, this is going to the book of Timothy. Is it 3:16 and 17? Let's see. Second Timothy. So it's going over to Second Timothy, and it reads. This chapter 3, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of Elohim and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of Elohim may be perfect, thoroughly furnished for all good works. So now we understand everything that's written, he gave the permission to write. And yes, we should be checking what our ancestors said. But also, most people don't realize not everybody going to be able to pick this book up and read it and understand it. They're just not, because it is not for you to understand. It is for the one whom the Most High have called to give the understanding to. You be the greatest reader in the world. But see, this is not your average book. This is a book of the perfect magic that no one wants to talk about, because that's the deep stuff we don't even want to get into. Once you tap into the magic of the Most High, it is serious. It is real serious. And then once you take your hand and say, I teach this, oh, yeah, and you're not teaching it properly, you're going to be like one of the prophets of false prophets. Let's move on. Now we're going to jump to the book of Jeremiah, like we just spoke of earlier. Jeremiah chapter 23. So you get there before me, hey, just relax, and I'm right behind you. Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. We're going to be reading 1 and 2. This is important to know. Why are we talking about false prophets today again? Because that's what's happening today. No one really wants to hear what the scripture says, because everyone has equated the scriptures with the white man. And they say that came from the white man. So therefore, we don't want that. We want something else. We'll take Kemet, we'll take Islam, we'll take Buddhism, we'll take any other religious order to fashion our lives after. But the most important thing that you have to realize, this book was and is the book of the Israelites. It has always been the book of the Israelites. So let's read. In Jeremiah 23 and verse 1, he says, Woe. Woe means destruction, in case you didn't know. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. See, that right there lets you know that these are not your people. They're not your sheep. You didn't purchase them. You didn't purchase these folks with your blood. Let's read that again. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Yahweh. Verse 2. Therefore thus saith the Yahweh Elohim of Israel, against the pastors, that's with an S, that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock, and have driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, say the Yahweh. See, now it's serious. You know, joke. People talk about, I don't want to go to hell, but the children of Israel today are in hell right now, literally living in hell. They get shot down in the streets. They get run down in the streets. There is no justice for the children of Israel. You're seeing folks all scattered all over the world being accosted by the government, the enforcers, and they get to treat them any which way they want, because we are literally in a hellish state right now that there is a time that's coming when those who live lavishly and deliciously in this kingdom will be cast into the lake of fire. And then you'll forever be in eternal damnation. The state of hell and where we are now, that's an understandable, but we are being redeemed. We are being redeemed. That's why the scripture admonishes us. Let's get that in Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. Because even though we say, I make mistakes and I don't get it right. Well, here's what the scripture admonishes us. It tells us, this is Judges chapter 5 and verse 11, they that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawn water. Archers goes into those that who've been delivered from bullets. You ever heard someone say, that kid was killed by a stray bullet? From the noise of archer. No bullet is stray. This is the hardest part most people don't want to really understand. Each bullet has a name on it if it strikes someone. No one gets killed indiscriminately before the presence of the Most High. He is the one who brings the final judgment. That's heavy. Most people don't fear him, so they don't really care. You hear me saying this, it's like, ain't got nothing to do, because you don't fear him. That's why it says the beginning, the fear of the Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. If you don't fear him, you have no wisdom. You think everything is good. That's Psalms 111 and 10. The fear of the Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. If you're not doing his commandments, you're in bad shape. I mean, let's just make it plain. You're in bad shape. Let's read this scripture. It says, this is Judges chapter 5, verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, for where we are in all these cities, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Yahweh, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Yahweh go down to the gate. So, in the meantime, between time, what we're supposed to be doing is rehearsing the righteous acts. That means we're supposed to keep the Sabbath. We're supposed to be doing these things the best to our abilities. But if you're not even making an effort, you don't really care. I'm going to do what I want to do. You don't tell me what to do. You're not my daddy. I do what I want. I'm an American. Can't tell me what to do. That's what most people think. And that's what happens. You find yourself dead, and after a while. So let's move on. Went to Judges. Let's jump to Micah. Micah chapter 3. Let's go to Micah. This is really important. You know, everyone's saying, Most High told me this. I had this dream. I had that dream. No one wants to consult the scriptures. Why? Because I don't want to get cut. And besides, if I tell them what I feel, they'd be more apt to hear, do what I want them to do. I feel this is going to be your year. Year of what? Of prosperity, brother. You're going to get that money. Let's move on. It's Micah chapter 3, verse 11 and 12. And it reads, the heads thereof judge for reward. Now we're talking about the heads, those who are in charge. The heads thereof judge for rewards, and the priests thereof teach for hire. We just said the scriptures saying basically what's happening. You have these great names, these great preachers. You want me to come to your church? I require $5,000. Let's just be real. You got $5,000 for me to come out there and talk to your people? Some folks say, no. You got 30,000 members. I require $20,000. What does it say? The heads thereof judge for reward. They're going to give you a judgment. You're going to pay them. the priests thereof teach for hire. You want me to come and teach your people? You got to pay me. Grease the wheel, they say. And the prophets thereof divine for money. Well, brother, the Most High said to you, I'm going to impart a word for you. But we need a $100 line over there. Come on, let's get a $100 line because this is worthy to be paid. This stuff shouldn't be free. Careful. Says the prophets therefore thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean upon the Yahweh and say, is not the Yahweh among us? None evil can come upon us. See how bold and arrogant the words that come out of their mouth? Ain't nothing gonna happen to us. We good. We good. But hey, here's a funny. When all this pandemic stuff happened, what happened to all of the faith healers? Where did they go? Why aren't they laying hands on the sick? And they should be well. Isn't that something that they've been doing? They show the wheelchairs. Look at all the people that got healed. Where are they today? Why aren't we emptying our hospitals? Let's read that again. The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire. And the prophets thereof divine for money, yet will they lean upon the Yahweh and say, is not the Yahweh among us? None evil can come upon us. Verse 12. Therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as a high place of the forest. See, the Most High is going to mow down all this stuff. He's going to mow it down to the ground, pretty much. There won't be anything there. Let me give you an example. People say, brother, you got to listen to what I'm saying, or you ain't going to be saved. Well, we already know. I know I've spent time on that lesson. Nobody is saved. They telling you they're saved, they're lying to you. But here's one thing that you need to bear in mind. It says, now we in Psalms 91. This is important because over here it says, going back to Micah, remember he said in verse 12, it says, therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountains of the house as high place of the forest. It seems like everybody's going to die. It seems like it. But what does it say in Psalms 91? This is key. Very, very key point. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place. You know what? Let's do this. Oh, I have the wrong one. What I'm going to do is pull up the book of Psalms. Up here, Jeremiah, Proverbs, Psalms. All right, now that's Psalms 119. Are you going to act right? Anytime you're dealing with a computer of any kind, it's always going to give you a hard time. So let's hopefully don't give me too much of a hard time. Work with me now. Psalms 107, we're going to Psalms 91. 91, let's see if we can get there. Let's see, where are we? That's 79. Okay, let's go down some. This is important. I want you to hear it from. This is the Sacred Scripture, Hebrew edition of the Bible. So that's why I'm going to this one. Let's see, 93, 91. Now, here we are. Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the El Elyon shall abide under the shadow of the El Shaddai. Now, it's important to understand. See, it says he that. letting you know. Now, we all know the Bible is written in a masculine voice, so it also includes the sisters as well. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place. Not everybody is dwelling in the secret place, most particularly those who teach for hire, those false prophets. They're not dwelling in the secret place. They're not. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the El Elyon shall abide under the shadow of the El Shaddai. I will say of the Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Elohim, in him I will trust. That takes something. You have to do something. False prophets are not going to do that. They're not going to do that. See, a small number of the children of Israel will do this. A small number. But see, small to you and I is a different measuring to the Father, because he sees where we are all over the face of the earth. We don't get to see that. So let's read on. It's verse 3. It says, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. You hear that? Noisome pestilence. What are we dealing with today? We're dealing with the pandemic. So he said he's going to deliver you. He's going to deliver you. Keep that in mind. Verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. I know in the message that I've given before, I've always given you Proverbs 3, 5 through 7. You must learn to trust in the Yahweh. If you're not trusting in him, hey, why are you here? Why are you listening? You're wasting your time. Go out, party, have fun. Because when it's over, it's over. He says, he shall cover thee with his feathers, under his wings thou shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Most people don't even know what the truth is. So how can it be your shield and buckler when you don't even have it? Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day. There's that arrow again. Today they're called bullets. Keep that in mind. And that arrow also is known as missiles. So it has a varying meanings. Because arrows that go into cities are known as missiles flying into cities. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day. Verse 6. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. So yes, pestilence is walking about as if it owns the place. And yet those who truly trust in the Yahweh, they're not afraid. But you don't hear them, you don't see them. Here's an opportunity. Who are you listening to? Are you listening to the false prophets? Or are you really in tune with the Most High? That's an interesting question that you can put to yourself. Because if you don't know, you don't know. It's high time you should know. You should know who you're following. Let's jump to 1 Kings 13. 1 Kings chapter 13. This is quite a bit here. So let's see how much we're going to use of this. 1 Kings chapter 13, and we're starting at verse 1. Verse 1. And behold, there came a man of Elohim out of Judah by the word of the Yahweh unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar of the word of the Yahweh, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Yahweh, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which the Yahweh hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying, of the man of Elohim, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold on him. And his hand, which he put forth against him, dried up so that he could not pull it in again to him. So apparently, because he spoke a word against this man, his hand withered. Verse 5. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar, according to the sign which the man of Elohim had given by the word of the Yahweh. And the king answered and said unto the man of Elohim, Entreat now the face of the Yahweh thy Elohim, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of Elohim besought the Yahweh, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of Elohim, Come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. And the man of Elohim said unto the king, If thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so it was charged me by the word of Elohim, by the word of the Yahweh, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done that day in Bethel. The words which he had spoken unto the king, them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, What way he went? For his sons had seen what way the man of Elohim went, which came from Judah. And he said to his sons, Saddle me an ass. So they saddled him an ass, and he rode thereon. And he went after the man of Elohim, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Art thou the man of Elohim that cameth from Judah? And he said, I am. When he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Yahweh, Thou shalt eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou camest. And said unto him, I am a prophet also, as thou art. An angel spoke unto me by the word of the Yahweh, saying, Bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him. So he went back with him, and he did eat bread in his house, and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Yahweh came unto the prophet that brought him back. And he cried against the man of Elohim that came from Judah, saying, Thus saith the Yahweh, For as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Yahweh, and hast not kept the commandment which the Yahweh thy Elohim commanded thee, but camest back, and hast eaten bread and drunk water in the place of which the Yahweh did say to thee, Eat no bread, eat no bread, and drink no water. Thy carcass shall not come unto the sepulchre of thy fathers. And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled him the ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way, and slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way. And the ass stood by it, and the lion also stood by the carcass. And behold, men passed by, and saw the carcass cast in the way, and the lion standing by the carcass. And they came and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And when the prophet that brought him back from the way heard thereof, he said, it is the man of Elohim. See how much they cared for him? They didn't care for him. They didn't even like him. It was the man of Elohim. Hear what they're saying? Who was disobedient unto the word of the Yahweh. Therefore the Yahweh has delivered him unto the lion, which has torn him and slain him according to the word of the Yahweh, which he spake unto him. See, he already told me. You tell this to the people. I don't care whether they like you or not. Tell this to the people. If you become an outcast, be an outcast, but tell this to the people. So I'm not here on your command. I'm here on the Father's mission. And when he told me to do what I must do, I have to do it. And when I'm done, I'm done. So let's read on. And he spake to his sons, saying, saddle me an ass. And they saddled him. And he went and found his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion standing by. And the lion had not eaten the carcass, nor torn the ass. See, that was a judgment. The lion just stood there. I did my job. I was just supposed to kill him. I ain't going to eat that lion. I ain't going to eat him. And I'm not going to eat the donkey. I did my job, so he's just standing there. He's standing there as a testimony, just as the angels will stand with us as a testimony to either for our good or for our bad. Yes, we do have guardian angels that are taking note of everything we do and say, because on that day we will be judged accordingly. And the prophet took up the carcass of the man of Elohim and laid it upon the ass and brought it back. And the old prophet came to the city to mourn and to bury him. I don't know why he's mourning. It's false. It's not real. There is no true mourning. He died. Say some nice words over him. It's like a rapist that rapes you, then turns around and says, oh, I took your virginity? Oh, wow. I'm going to mourn over that for you. Really? It makes no sense. And laid his carcass in his own grave. And they mourned over him, saying, alas, my brother. Careful of those who say, brother this and brother that. And it came to pass, after he had buried him, that he spake to his son, saying, when I am dead, then bury me in the sepulchre wherein the man of Elohim is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones, as if that's a great thing. For the saying which he cried by the word of the Yahweh against the altar of Bethel and against all the houses of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria shall surely come to pass. After this thing, Jeroboam returned not from his evil way, but made again of the lowest of the people priest of the high places, whosoever would he consecrate him. And he became one of the priests of the high places. And this thing became the sin unto the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off and to destroy it from all the face of the earth. See, Jeroboam made the low people priest of the high places. What do you think are the priests of the churches of today? These are the low men. These are not the esteemed men of the Most High. Oh, these are the lowest of the lowest, the base men, the same base people who rule the nations. The wise and the hearing of the Most High, they're scattered. You rarely hear a word from them because the Most High has it that way. So what are we looking at? We're looking at false prophets. That's how they get them. They say, look, we count you out $1,000. But when you have nothing, 1,000 is too much. It's way too much. It's 150. That 150 is a nice cushion. Like, oh, wow, 150. Or, Hey, well, I'll gift you a new car. Really? Yeah. Give you a new car. Now I'm looking good because I get to floss among my poor people in this expensive car. Brothers and sisters, the false prophets are here and they want to be seen and they want to be heard, yet they will do nothing the Most High told them to do. Let's move on. Let's go back to Ezekiel. Somehow I feel I've done this lesson before. Might have. Ezekiel 13. Ezekiel chapter 13. Because what's the sad part is, so often, especially today, where we are grasping to everything. You know, it reminds me of the 60s, the 1960s, when the Nation of Islam took a very strong hold among the black community. And it was Malcolm X and it was Martin Luther King, for which we know today that both men were assassinated by this country. The hand of this country was involved in killing both of those men. You know, Malcolm X because the guy was such a radical, but Martin Luther King because the guy was such a radical. You know, being a black man and following in the steps for which the way, which is how Mashiach told us that we need to follow in the way, which is the way of righteousness, which is the way of the commandments and faith. When you do that, people will follow you, but they don't want our people together. They want us separate. That's when they went into, the 70s. They destroyed the families. They destroyed the black families with public aid, and they closed all the factories, and men didn't have anywhere to go. And the whole point is, today we have so many false prophets teaching things that are not even in the scriptures. See, now today you have to learn to search out. And sometimes you can only use what you have. For example, if a mother is fixing a table and she doesn't have a flathead screwdriver, but she have a butter knife, and she uses that butter knife as a flathead screwdriver because that's all she has. And it does work. Until one time somebody tells her, hey, don't use that. Here's a flathead screwdriver. Use that. And you're like, wow, this is so much better. Wish I had this before. But you only had what you had until such time the Most High blesses you with something greater. But you have to learn to walk in what you're walking in. Because if you don't realize it, you're going to be tested. You say you want to follow after the Most High, are you crazy? The scripture tells you. He said, are you ready for this? And in the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1, it says, my son and daughter, if thou come to serve the Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. What does that mean? You really want to follow him? You really want to do what is required? Bro, sister, you're going to be tested. You really are going to be. Wow, yeah, I don't think I know too much about that. I don't know that scripture, bro. I don't know that because that's okay. Let me give you one that you do know. Let's go to the book of James. The book of James, chapter 1 and verse 2. James, come on, book, turn. James, chapter 1 and verse 2, and it reads, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations. Divers means multiple temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Trying means trials, tribulations, and sufferings, and all the good stuff. That's part of the fruit of the Spirit. If you never read the fruit of the Spirit, in Galatians 5:22 and 23. And it reads on, but let patience have its perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So you mean to tell me we can be perfect? The scripture says it. Why can't you? Because man told you can't be perfect. But even Yahweh Mashiach says, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. But man would tell you no one is perfect. So you misunderstand scripture and you following the ways of this world. That's why he's telling us, come out of the ways of this world. And it goes on, it says, verse 5, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of Elohim that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So the problem is people think that all men talks about every single person on the face of the earth. This book has only been to one people. I think we discussed that before. It's only been to one people. You know, it's like the construct, the great enigma construct of John 3:16. The great enigma, it's almost, you can't even understand it because it has so much written about it, yet it is not formed after the scripture. You know the one. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. You don't understand that scripture because you don't even understand the first verse in chapter 3 of the book of John. How Mashiach was talking to an Israelite. The conversation was between two Israelites. It was about the world of Israel. See, these are deep things most people don't even want to talk about. They don't want to get into because it goes against what Master taught us. Now, you know, Master said we supposed to get in that field and do what Master tells us. We ain't supposed to say anything contrary to Master say. You trying to get my head separated from my shoulder. False prophets are among us. False prophets are everywhere. False prophets, false prophets, false prophets. You know, another thing, what we need to do as you're partaking in this video, like and share it. Like and share it. You know, some folks that actually came on, I actually had some folks, I don't get too many viewers, but, and it must be someone that I know personally because they downgraded the video, which means we're not getting the message out. But remember, you can't stop what the Most High put in place. So I'm suggesting like and share, thumbs up the video, like and share it. That way, more of the people will get an understanding, get to learn. So it's incumbent upon you to like and share it so that the algorithm can get to more people. So where are we? Where are we? We are in, we're going to jump to, let's go to Jeremiah 14. Did we finish all of Ezekiel? Ezekiel 13, 3 through 9? Hang on, let me get that. Ezekiel 13, 3 through 9. No, we didn't. So let's, before we move on, let's get to Ezekiel 13, 3 through 9. Thus saith the Yahweh Elohim, woe, remember woe means destruction, unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. That's what he's telling you. You ain't seen nothing. O Israel, thy prophets are like foxes in the desert. Ye have not gone up into the gap, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in the day of the Yahweh. They have seen vanity and lying divinations, saying, the Yahweh saith, and the Yahweh hath not sent them. And they have made others to hope that they would confirm the word. You know, you need to confirm this. Confirm what I'm telling you. Not what the Most High is saying, but what they're saying. So are you hearing what he's saying, or are you listening to another man tell you something that's going to make you feel good? I'm not interested in making you feel good. If you're feeling good from what I'm saying, then I pray Sirach 2 and 1 on you. Maybe you need to feel a little bit of more of that long suffering so you can understand. This is not a game. It's not a joke. This is for real. Verse 7. Have ye not seen a vain vision? And have ye not spoken a lying divination? Whereas ye say, the Yahweh said it, albeit I have not spoken. It's a question. Albeit I have not spoken? It's the truth. Verse 8. Therefore, thus saith the Yahweh Elohim, because ye have spoken vanity and seen lies, Therefore, behold, I am against you, said the Yahweh Elohim. And when he says he's against you, he ain't playing. Verse 9. And mine hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity, and that divine lies. They shall not be in the assembly of my people. He just stated in this scripture that they getting cast into hell, because he said you're not going to be in the assembly of my people, the assembly of the righteous. He's letting you know you're going to be cast into hell. Neither shall they be written in the writings of the house of Israel. Neither shall they enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Yahweh Elohim. Here's another scripture. Let's jump to Matthew. Because in light of this lesson, I'm reminded that there are those who say the law is done away with. We don't have to follow any more laws. Hamashiach came and the laws are done away with. Be real careful. It's 6. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse, let's start at 17. Because this is important. This is Hamashiach speaking. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Now, see, that's where most people miss the understanding. It's like you're trying to understand a complex chemical equation, or I'll go with that one, a chemical equation, and you misunderstand it. And you put it together and you realize, I was wrong. Yes. So you need to be corrected. Because that which he fulfilled is what was prophesied of him. And what was that? That he would die and be buried on a cross and fulfill the law of sacrifice. There are 5 components of the law. You have the sacrificial law. You have the dietary law. You have the, now, I know my memory is good sometimes, but not all the time. So you have the sacrificial, the dietary, the civil, the ceremonial, and the moral law. I had to check my notes. Those are the 5 components. So when Hamashiach came, he fulfilled the sacrificial law. The law where we don't sacrifice anymore. See? That's an interesting. But people say, no. We ain't got to do nothing else. We do nothing. Huh? How do you, You say, you don't do nothing? No, and this is where the false prophets get you off. And this is how they do it. And that's why he says, let me read that again. Verse 17, it's Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass. See, heaven and earth has not passed. One jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. The whole law is not fulfilled. The children of Israel are still scattered. We're still in bondage, where we have been cast to the 4 corners of the earth. But this is a message to the false prophets in verse 19. Whosoever shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men, so he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So you ain't getting in the kingdom of heaven. You cause his people to stumble. You said you be least, meaning you ain't going to be there in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So what is a least commandment? A least commandment, the easiest thing, because I've heard people say there's no way you can keep the law. You just can't do it. One of the easiest laws for men is wear your beard. Did you know that was a law? You know you're not supposed to shave your head? That's a law. Those are important. Very simple laws. No shrimp, crab, pork, or lobster, mushrooms, all that, all those unclean foods. Mm-mm. You ain't supposed to do that. See, it's simple, but when you hear it, it's like, I ain't doing that. You ain't taking away my ham. You ain't taking away my pork chops. I ain't doing that. I'm just going to pray over it and it's going to be good. Can you turn that which is unclean clean? No. But see, this is coming from one of the called prophets of the Most High. Father sends, and like all the other prophets, I can't make you do anything. It's not my intent to make you do anything. Not at all. So the intent is to shine a light on the false prophets. Many of our people have delved into the depth of wicked evilness, and they don't want to move. We are in a time where most of us don't realize that this country is on the brink of war with China and Russia. You don't see it. But this is what's happening. Now is the time to pick your side. Who you playing for? Are you going to play for the Most High? Or you going to play for the enemy? Hey, you got to choose a side. You ain't going to sit here and tell me, you know what, I'm going to play the middle. It ain't going to happen. You're either right or you're wrong. Because if you're lukewarm, you know what he said. You're lukewarm, spit you out of my mouth. So the whole point is, you've got to make a stand. Who are you going to stand for? Who are you going to be with? I want you with the winning team, but if you're not called to be with the winning team, I can only tell you. Let me tell you what John said. John 6:63. I like the way he said it. John said it real clearly. He said, no, excuse me. John recorded what Hamashiach said. He said, it is the spirit that quickeneth. See, it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. So I'm speaking to you the words of life. If the words of life doesn't quicken you to make you alive, that ain't up to me. See, I can't save anyone. I can't make my words save your life. Can't do it. Not at all. So we're going to end right there. I'm going to stop right there. Lesson was false prophets. They're everywhere. And they're happening real fast. And it's going to surprise a lot of people, because some people say, you know what? Throw that Bible away and had enough of it, because you don't understand it. You don't understand it. And when you don't understand something, people will walk away from it. That's life. That's the way life is. They want the easy thing out of life. Not going to happen here. So we had Matthew 26:6, and it reads, Now when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. And when Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also that this woman hath done be told for memorial of her. So for that memorial we always bring that sister out. And with that, I say shalom, peace and blessings be unto you and your household.